Well, welcome back to another episode of Stuff You Should Know. I'm your host, Stephanie Diamond, and I am the chick with the plan. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to someone I've known for about 2 years now, Bobby Keenum with Premier Fitness and Nutrition. So, one of my favorite things about doing what I do is connecting people with resources that can genuinely improve their lives. And honestly, I think a lot of folks that I come in contact with could benefit from hearing this conversation. We're talking about health, we're talking about mindset, lifestyle changes, accountability, and what it really looks like to start building better habits one step at a time. So, if you've been trying to get back on track, feel better, or just really want to take better care of yourself overall, this episode is definitely for you. All right, let's jump in.
Just give Have you want to just talk a little bit about what got you into this particular focus of nutrition and exercise? Like what drove you to get to where you are right now?
Yeah,
What's your origin story?
perfect. Um, I'll give you a long answer, sort of like in little digestible bits. So
Go
I,
for it.
I got I got on the health trend when I was 6 years old when my dad had a heart attack and survived. And then my grandfather also had a heart attack and survived a triple bypass surgery as well. They both had triple bypass surgeries when I was like 6 and like 12 or 13. And that's when I was like, "Ooh, okay, health, it's going to be a thing." The doctor was like, "Yeah, you're next." And I said, "No, no, I'm not." Um, so I've
Little
been,
12-year-old.
yeah, so I've been very health conscious for most of my life, essentially. Very active outdoors, just exercise all the time. And then fast forward to uh, senior year of high school. I discovered resistance training. I'd never stepped foot in a gym before until senior year of high school, and I was like, I like this. This is great. Went to college, Mississippi State. I got a degree in kinesiology, the study of human movement. If people don't know what that is, then I'll just say exercise science. Um,
Oh, I
so I
like that.
started. So I started training people in 2015 at the campus, at the on-campus gym, and I was like, I want to continue helping people, improve their health, get stronger, and just to improve their quality of life. And I moved to Georgia in what was it, 2018, and I picked up a job at a strength and conditioning facility. It was great, learned a lot there. And then I thought I took a better job in Florida. That didn't work out. And you live and you learn. And from that mistake, I created my own business, Premier Fitness and Nutrition, in 2021, and I've been doing that ever since. And now, fast forward to answering your question. Finally, I was the standard just macro coach, calorie coach. Like, hey, eat less, move more. Like standard things like that everyone hears. And then my wife had started having thyroid issues and other health issues that I just didn't know enough about. And she um, got confirmed with like Hashimoto's through some blood tests. And I was like, I have no idea what any of this is. And then that's when the eat less, move more stops really working. That advice doesn't work anymore. So I had to go the more functional nutrition route and learn about that. Like, okay, I'm going to start doing blood work with my clients so I can get a deeper look into their internal health, not just what they look like on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe we could also discover hidden health conditions that they didn't know they had. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I can't prescribe or diagnose anyone, but I can be like, hey, these markers are pointing towards this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should go get confirmation from that. Or maybe you could get a second opinion from another doctor. So I can be an advocate for my client's health based off of what I see in someone's blood work. And then, so I've really gone down the functional rabbit hole. I love it. It's great. It's really opened my eyes to a lot more just nuances of health um, than just simply eat less, move more. And then that reel that you mentioned, it's it's been on my mind for a couple of years now about how our, how do I put it? Our health culture slash society here in America is just, it's trash. I'm going to be honest with you.
Wax.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's trash. So like
Hmm.
and I could have an entire presentation, PowerPoint presentation on this, but I try to keep it simple for that little 3 minute reel that I did. Number one was that, yeah, the one of the easier answers is people are more sedentary here by default.
Right.
Not everyone, but most people. We drive everywhere. We get in a car. Everything is just so spread out. Um, and we do have a large country. That's a part of it. But I wish public transportation was more of a thing here. I wish walkable cities and bikeable areas in the city were more of a thing.
Right.
Um, and that's a whole another conversation of like, elect local politicians and get a political movement going for that. But like that's another convo for another day, and that would be incredibly hard. Go ahead.
I do have, I've got, I just took the Kennesaw Citizens Academy, and it
Nice.
talked about, and one of the things that Kennesaw is trying to do is create more paths and have more of a pedestrian friendly. I know. And so it just dawned on me that might be something that I would actually encourage you. Are you in Canton? Is that where you're not
Smyrna Vinings.
Smyrna? Okay. I know that Smyrna has a boot camp, same, very similar. I mean, each little town has their own thing, but learning about your local government and what they're doing with parks and recreation. And ironically, I don't know if you know this or not, but the health of a zip code is what creates the pricing for health insurance.
Huh, I did not know that.
So
Makes sense.
healthier zip codes have less expensive premiums. Isn't that
All
crazy?
right, learn something new today. Let's
Yeah.
go.
And Kennesaw, more specifically, 30144 has the best variety of policies and the best rates.
There
It's,
you go.
I noticed that years ago, and then I took the class. And anyway, but the pedestrian friendly cities and towns, I think for a lot of places around here, there's a push for that.
Mhm.
Smyrna's a little bit bigger. And I mean, it's just hard you're right. Everything's so spread out. It's not like you don't want to walk and there aren't places to walk. It's just where you're going to walk to. Like, where are you
Yeah.
going? And so,
Mhm. And
anyway,
yeah, and that's actually great. I didn't know about the zip code part. Um, and the driving everywhere part is just one small piece of the puzzle. And some cities are more walkable. They might be more condensed, and you can walk everywhere. Others might be more like, Cobb County or Smyrna. Everything's just spread out.
right,
Um, and then Kennesaw, that's more rural, like suburb of Atlanta, where there's more outdoorsy space. It's not as clustered as it would be for Sandy Springs or Buckhead,
right,
close to a city center.
right.
Um, and there's a lot of other factors too that as well that I've been noticing while on the functional nutrition route too. Like infrastructure. That's what I'm getting at here. Infrastructure
Mhm.
just isn't really designed for it here in America. It's getting a little bit better, but it's like inching. Um, People immediately jump to food quality, and that's fair. I get that. You'll look on an ingredients label of a food, and it'll be like a paragraph basically of like all things that you can't really pronounce, or red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6 food dyes, and
Yeah.
that's another conversation. Maltodextrin, and then you look, it'll compare next to a European same product, same exact thing, and it's like this. It's like, okay, tomato juice and like water and salt and like a few other things. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Like we have a paragraph over here, and then they have like one singular line over here. Like, so yeah, the food quality and food regulations, that's the word I'm looking for. Like
Yeah.
food is definitely different. It's a lot more lax over here. And then, oh gosh, I could continue going as well. And also, another thing too, like mindset around food, and we live in an age of abundance.
Mhm.
Um, there's food everywhere, literally food everywhere. We still somehow can't, feed the hungry or the poor, but that's another conversation, an offshoot conversation. But everywhere you turn, there's like a McDonald's or fast food, some kind of restaurants. There's processed foods all throughout your grocery stores. Everything is designed to be, not everything, but most things is designed around hyper palatability. Like hyper palatable means it's easier to want more.
Yes.
It tastes amazing. and they're designed to get you to want more and therefore buy more. So it's kind of like a profit over people thing. And the corporations are just like,
Is it about money?
who would have thought? Yeah,
Oh,
money,
shocker.
So like, how can we sell more of this nutrient poor food? And I get it. That's business. You're trying
But
to sell.
no, we shouldn't get
Like,
it. That's
yeah,
poison.
it is poison. You're
We are
correct. And like,
poisoning our country.
hmm
By the but so keep going. We're
yeah. So from a pure business viewpoint, I get it. Like if a business is trying to make money, sure. Like if you take the human element and the ethical element out of it, pure business move, I get it. Of course, you're trying to make more money, sell more product. Fine, that makes sense. The human element, you're like, okay, well, do we really need to be pushing as many Snicker bars out as we can at a national level? Like, do we really need to, like, how can we subsidize more like fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, salads, plant-based, foods, leaner, actual higher quality foods, and make those less expensive and somehow instead of prioritizing and keeping the really nutrient poor foods dirt cheap. Now, granted, grocery prices are still going up,
yeah.
but at the end of the day, like there's a lot of like profit over people mindset and a lot of the food industry. Not always, but it's just really disheartening when I me being my nutrition background, I just look, I'm like, that's not a healthy food. That's not a healthy food. That's an okay food. Um, and it's just everywhere essentially. And we live in our mindsets too. I grew up in Mississippi where if we weren't the fattest state in one year, we were like the second or third fattest state every single year that I remember.
Really?
And yeah, we've always been a very by population like an overweight state. If not the most overweight, we were like, top five. And I was
Interesting.
always taught growing up like, hey, finish your plate. Don't let food go to waste. I always heard about those starving kids in Africa,
Oh
and
gosh, those poor
that's that's
kids.
a that's a true thing, but that's just a part of the mindset. Like, okay, always finish your plate. Well, if my plate is full of French fries and chicken tenders and some other kind of low quality food, then yeah, don't let food go to waste. I hate food waste, but it's okay to throw away some foods from time to time. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to finish that bag of Doritos. You don't have to
You don't
finish
have to be the trash can.
exactly. You don't have to finish everything,
Yeah.
And there's so many factors that go into people's overall health. And we're just not doing a good job here in America. I'm doing a terrible job of like assembling it all together, but it's just so much.
No, absolutely. I
Um,
mean, everything affects it. I mean,
yeah.
it all comes down to how things are affecting us, and
Mhm.
nutrition and educate or in exercise or fitness is just something that it's all fads. It's been fads ever since I can remember. I mean, I've been on Weight Watchers since like the sixth grade. I mean, it was just, and then to talk about the quality of food back then, when you were on a weight loss plan, then you ate sugar free. You had, Splenda or Equal, and it
Low
was
fat. Like
everything was processed. And I was actually talking to Chef Sue. She brought up the point that you could eat a bag of potato chips and not quite feel, not feel like you're gonna just have to unbutton your pants. But if you ate a bag of green beans or a giant bag of grapes or chicken or anything that was natural, you can't eat the whole bag, because the foods in those all the processed foods have no nutritional value. So your body
exactly.
is not getting, which that's amazing. And so when in doing that, I've actually started making better choices when I go out to eat to see if I'm going to be mad that I don't get the French fries. I get the fruit cup and see how I feel. And I always feel so much better. And I
hmm
don't feel hungry. I don't feel like I've missed out on something. And I think that marketing has done a huge disservice to our nutrition and physical health. I mean, just physical health overall, whether it's prescriptions or do this or wear that or eat this. I mean, it's just we're a part of marketing's program.
Yep. it's marketing, marketing, marketing. How can we sell as much product as we can, whatever that product is, and going back to the functional nutrition realm, I say functional nutrition, and I'm really considering becoming like a board certified health coach. And that's where I started really getting like the more holistic view. Like, yes, exercise, nutrition, that's going to be the top of everyone's mind, but how are you sleeping? What's your environment like literal environment? Like, it's your home life. Is it stressful, or is it very loving and supportive? What is your actual environment outside? Do you live in like a very pollution heavy city, or are you out in the country where it's relatively good air quality? How is your water quality?
Yeah.
Like, how much pesticides are on the food that you're eating? Or even something as very small and minute as like how much, what's the word I'm looking for? Like heavily strong scented chemicals and cleaning agents, and are you
Yeah.
using in your home? Are you chronically burning heavily scented candles as well? And this can all like affect your internal health slowly over time. For women specifically, getting into hormonal issues and health, like how have you taken birth control your entire life? When did you start? How early? How were your monthly cycles and everything? Like, I'm really starting to create like a health history for onboarding my clients. Like, hey, like instead of where you're at right now with your health and all the stuff you might have, like give me a timeline. Like,
Yeah.
for women example, like when did you start taking birth control? If you want to, give that information. But that helps me, like, okay, she's been on birth control since age 16. She hasn't been off of it and she's now 42. Like, that's a long period of not being off birth control that can affect someone's hormonal health. um
Right.
has he or she done crash dieting like consistently over the past 15 years or so?
Hmm.
um what is their socioeconomic status? Because that again will factor into someone's overall health. Like, if money's not an issue, then they can buy all organic, grass-fed beef and the top tier foods that we know are all good. They can walk into a Whole Foods or a farmer's market and not even have to worry about the price and get good quality stuff. Versus the single mom of three kids who's working two jobs over here, she may have to get the more actual chicken nuggets, more processed foods. That's not really, it's cheaper, but it's not really good for you, but that's all she can
I'm not
afford.
even sure it's even cheaper anymore. I mean, looking at the prices out
Yeah.
there, even the junk food and the easy,
Hmm.
look at fast food. It costs over $5 for a burrito at Taco Bell now. I mean,
And
that
that's
is ridiculous.
and that just feeds into the problem that I literally just said too. Like,
Yeah.
cheap food is not even getting really cheaper anymore. It's
Right.
getting more expensive. So now you really have to look at your weekly menu and your grocery list and be like, okay, like, how can I stretch my dollars even more? And that could be you may have to start taking out more healthier foods as well. And that's just not a good thing that we want to really get into. Like, so that's another thing. That's just an ever growing list of to dos that I have. Like, how can
Right.
I educate my clients more on how to stretch their dollar more, but still making it on healthier choices. Um,
And realizing that I have found that when I eat healthier, I don't actually eat as much. So it's not like I need to have a crap ton of food. I just need to have the right food. And then I'll be
yes.
satisfied and I won't have that weird craving and feel like I need to, just blow it all. It is very, we are a product of what we put into ourselves. It's just, we're some of our decisions. And by the way, I thought you a question about, you said functional health
Hmm.
or functional fitness. Did you say fitness? Functional fitness,
Functional nutrition. Hmm.
functional nutrition. I just did a full panel through a company called Function Health. Are you familiar with this?
Yes.
You know them?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
So the good news is everything's good except for my cholesterol. Damn it. But I'm on all this stuff for that. So, but all my levels seem to be in a good place. But I know that they have you done the Function Health?
I have two clients that are a part of Function Health, and they
Okay.
they sent me their blood work, and it's in depth, it's intense, it's a
Yeah.
lot. It's very all encompassing, which is a good
Yes.
thing. That's what you want. If you're paying money for a panel, you
Yeah.
want as many lab readings as you can get.
without getting to the point where you're over your head in it. Like you need to have
Mhm.
a plan once you have those results, like have someone like you read them or your doctor so that you're not Googling all the things and self-diagnosing because it is a lot of information. They even say that when you sign up for that program is that you're going to get a lot of stuff. Don't go crazy with it. But I
Mhm.
think that having those benchmarks and those well, just knowing how our body is doing and taking some of those vitals to see if what we're doing, if we need to make any changes. And that was I got that from one of my clients. One of my clients told me she did that, which is why I signed up. But do you require folks to have some sort of a something done so that you kind of have an idea of where their body is? Like, is there before you prescribe a routine or anything, do you look at test results or is that usually given to you?
So I am now moving towards where it is like mandatory,
Okay.
because I'm offering a new coaching like system,
Yeah.
and it's built around someone's blood work. If they can also get a body composition scan, great. But I know that, cost will start going up. But I do recommend people like, hey, like if you don't have blood work done, let's say someone signs on with me tomorrow and they don't have blood work that's like 6 months or newer, then I'm
Hmm.
like, hey, great, welcome aboard. You don't need it right now, but let's go ahead and schedule you for another round of blood work, basically. I highly, highly, highly recommend slash require people to get blood work done once a year. That's like bare minimum because we all should be getting our physicals done anyways,
Right.
regardless. Preferably every 6 months. That way we can get a good snapshot of like, hey, is this program that you're on like and general recommendations, is it working? Or
Yeah.
are you staying the same or are you
Right.
hopefully not moving in the wrong direction? Because then we need to make adjustments.
Right.
So like I do recommend people slash I'm now requiring it like, hey, like when did you get blood work done? Oh, it's been more than a year. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get you set up for it. And then I can take a look at it and then we can structure their own personalized, like functional health blueprint, essentially.
Well, I have a direct link on my website to sign up for Function Health. And it's sort of, but what I would also recommend is that maybe you have one on your site. Because if people don't have that information or they don't have their if they need that kind of testing, then they can sign up for that right through that website. And it's $365 a year for 2 rounds of tests. And it's like
Oh, it's not bad.
160 different panels. I mean, it's redonk how much information they give. But you get a referral fee for every time somebody signs up for it. Like there's a so it's kind of it would be a sort of a secondary income, but and it's like $25 per person. But it
Hmm.
is a resource for your clients. And that function health stuff, if you go to Quest Diagnostics, that is all that you see up there is function health. It's their big sponsor of Quest. So
Hmm.
anyway, it's a good
I will
program.
look into that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so one thing we may bounce around, but I definitely want to make sure I ask this question. What is one of your most proud moments in your profession? What is one of your most proud moments that you've had so far?
A couple things really, um, but one of them stands out the most for me is I've had two separate occasions where someone's looked at me either on a phone call or in person, and they told me that they now crave movement. And basically, what they meant by that is like I took them through my PR90 program that you did,
Mhm.
and it's all based around habits, like just getting people in the habit of doing these basic foundational things every single day. And it's not hard, it's not easy to begin with, like it's a lot. It's like drinking out of a fire hose in the beginning for some people, but throughout the 3 month program it's like, okay, like, just baby steps. We're trying to be consistent and not perfect.
Right.
And usually around month 2 or month 3, I've had these people look at me and they were like, I now know what you were talking about. I get it. And I was like, what are you talking about? And it's like, I crave movement. If I'm not getting my daily movement in, or my protein, or my fruits and vegetables, and just like my daily steps in, then I don't feel right. Um, and that's, and looking at them, I could see the light bulb kind of going off in their head. I'm like, hold on to that. You now, you've got your moment. It's now a part of you. It's a habit now. It's
It's a
built in.
habit. Yeah.
And so that's what we're looking for. That's what we're seeking. And one of these clients, she was a postmenopausal client. She was really struggling to lose weight. And she was a biker, like a person who could just go out and bike 50 miles in a day, that kind of biker.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an issue of, her not exercising. She was definitely exercising to where she should have been losing weight, but she wasn't. And I was like, okay, let's pull back. Let's zoom out a little bit and look at your life overall, and like, how's your sleep? How's your stress? Obviously, how's your nutrition looking? And we cleaned up a lot of stuff. And I told her, I was like, this isn't going to make sense, but I need you to actually eat more food to lose weight.
Yeah.
And it just, it was like a it was like a car crash going off in her head. She's like, that doesn't make any sense. And I was like, I know it doesn't make any sense, but let me explain. And essentially, she was getting very low protein. She wasn't fueling her body enough at all to meet the demands that she was putting it under. And she went from like averaging maybe 50 grams of protein a day to 150 grams of protein per day. She was crushing it. And she was doing all of the PR90 habits. She was getting her steps in and her weekly biking in, fruits, vegetables. And she was starting to look at health as more of like a holistic thing instead of just exercise,
Right.
just nutrition. She was looking at it from as a whole. And once she started actually fueling her body by eating more high quality foods, that's when the weight just started falling off. So like it was about 3 months in, she maybe had lost like 5 pounds, 7 pounds after 3 months. She wasn't discouraged, but she was like, it's not as much as I was expecting. And then months 4, 5, and 6, it fell off because that's when it clicked for her. She was like, I'm starting to crave like daily movement. Now it's all making sense. Everything that I've been slowly teaching her over 3 months had finally started to click, and it became automatic to where I didn't have to like stay on top of her every day. She was doing it naturally. And then she was going out and crushing her bike rides. And then she, quote, quote, the weight just started falling off or melting off basically. And by the end of her 6 months, she was with me exactly for 6 months. And she had never been able to lose weight. Like if she lost a couple pounds, she'd gain it back. Now she's able to keep it off the entire time based off of what she learned. And that's when I told her, I was like, you essentially made it, like if you tell me that you crave movement, you don't really have to think about these things that you're doing, then it's built in now. And that's what I'm after. That's when I know that I've done a good job instilling these habits into someone else as well. And she's been able to keep it off. And it's been like a year and a half, I would say.
What is your mission? Do you have a mission statement?
I don't have an actual mission statement. I read the book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and that's actually a part of the book. So I do need to sit down and actually write out a mission statement so I can be like, cool, here we go. Let me read it. And so, but in the simplest terms, I want to educate people how not easy it is to improve their health, but just making small changes throughout each day that can lead to a big impact over time. And it does have to be an overall lifestyle change. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not going to
Right.
be easy. But my biggest thing is educating people. Like I could give someone the most perfect 6 month program ever in the humanity's existence, but it doesn't matter if someone's not going to follow it once they're done. If they haven't learned anything.
Right.
Like I could, if they need me to like sit there and like stay on them, crack the whip every single day, like, hey, keep doing this, and then when they're done working with me, they're not going to do it, then I didn't do my job effectively enough. So essentially, my mission is when someone signs up with me, whatever their health condition is, whatever their goal is, whether they're with me for 6 months, 12 months, or beyond, is at once we're done coaching together, I want them to know how to maintain their health. I want them to at least have a good idea of like, if they want to lose a little bit more fat in the future, they know how to do it because of me. If they want to continue building muscle and getting stronger in the gym, they know how to do it. They are now self-sufficient. So I want to teach people how to fish instead of just
Yeah.
giving them fish all the time and having them be reliant on me. Is it the best business model? No, it's not, because I'm trying to prioritize people over just absolute profit. And that's what I want to be remembered for, is like, hey, Bobby taught me how to do this, or Bobby taught me how to live like this with my certain health condition. Now I'm more educated. Now I know how to sift through the BS marketing stuff that I see online about my health condition versus now I know what's actually, you know, correct or what's actually truthful, if that's making sense.
I'm learning that anything that's a sponsored commercial is probably not telling you the truth. I kind of
Yeah.
feel like that those are the folks that have the money to throw at something. And I'm kind of thinking that those are the folks I don't want to deal with. Like I'd prefer it like local, like if that makes sense. I just watching commercials during like open enrollment and stuff like that, I can see all the ads for the crappy insurance. I'm like, oh, people are buying this, but I don't know. It's crazy when you start when reality hits and you start seeing things and clarity is there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I know as far as a mission statement, I sounds like you're working on that. I will say having a mission statement to keep in mind whenever you're making decisions for someone or about something, anything that keeping that mission statement in mind when making decisions. And I think that is I was just talking to another friend about this, but it's one of the things that keeps us as the business owner on track so that because sometimes it's hard to figure out which track you're on, especially if you're starting out in something, you got to kind of see where the road takes you because especially in your industry, there's so many different little avenues, but it sounds like you have found your lane and you're pinpointing some really specific folks that you want to work and that you want to work with. Not that necessarily needs you, but that you want to work with, because that's client quality right there. I mean, you want people who are going to take you seriously, take all the time and energy that you're putting into all this, and they'll take that seriously. It would suck for them to go through all this and then just go right back into old habits. I imagine that's a little disheartening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Like if you're
So
going to sign up with me, we're going to go through the coaching process and then you fall back into habits. So it's like, okay, like what
why
did
are
I
we
do wrong?
why are we here? What are
Yeah,
we
why are
doing
we
here?
here?
Yeah.
Like where did my communication efforts falter essentially,
Well, and honestly, sometimes people need that reality call as well, and they need to see that they're the problem. It's not the program, it's them. Like it doesn't matter what program you throw at them. That's with getting any kind of treatment. I know Dr. Steph was dealing with me, and it was, oh gosh, I can't remember when it was. It might have been maybe Thanksgiving. I don't know. It was something where I know I was eating foods that I shouldn't have been eating, and I was swelling. My body was like, mm-mm. And I was complaining about my aches and pains. And she said, well, if you keep eating those things, you're going to nothing that I do here is going to help you if you keep doing those things, which sometimes we need that little not slap on the face, that little word of wisdom, if you will. But
Yep.
being strong enough and having the confidence, not only in yourself, but in your clients to be able to say that, I think that's a strong suit that not a lot of people not everyone's honest and upfront and will be okay to give hard news. My parents have have a personal trainer. I don't know what in the hell they are doing with this guy because they are in such terrible shape. And I don't know why they keep going to this person because they're not doing all the thing. Well, my mom's not doing what she's supposed to be doing outside of the gym. So all the things she's doing in there, I don't know. No one wants to have a tough conversation with her though, I've learned.
Mm.
But we need those tough conversations, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, do I want to have tough conversations? No, I don't really think very many people want to have tough conversations, but that is a part of my job. Like,
Yeah.
you typically, I call it like a low level tough conversation, but like this is an easy topic, to kind of frame what you're talking about. Like, you know, counting calories. This is just an easy example. So like, does everyone want to count calories? No. Do I want to always count calories? No. I don't even do that too. But if I suddenly decide, okay, I'm going to go into a fat loss phase, I don't have the weight to lose, but let's just say I wanted to lose 10 pounds over 3 months, then okay, I need to know, going back to our previous conversation about the food in America and how everything is like highly processed and it has a lot more calories than we realize, then if we're not gauging how much we're actually eating, like weighing out a like keeping track of what a proper portion size is, how many calories are in this food, XYZ, then I don't know how much I'm really eating. And therefore, I don't have the data available to know if I'm on the right path or not towards fat loss or not.
Right.
And when people sign on with me, if someone has had an eating disorder or a terrible relationship with food, then yeah, they're in a separate category. I'm not going to push counting calories on them. If someone's like me who has never had an eating disorder, actually have a very healthy relationship with food, or they're indifferent, then I'm like, hey, like I know you may not want to do this. We're going to temporarily, big key word, temporarily count calories. So that way you learn what a proper portion size is for all of these foods that you're going to eat. We're
Right.
going to weigh out your food temporarily, no more than 3 months of doing this. And then we're going to shift you towards intuitive eating. So that's the most common tough conversation I
Ooh,
have with
intuitive
people.
eating. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the word, the phrase intuitive eating gets thrown around a lot. Like
I've
and
never
people
heard that.
think
I love it.
basically intuitive eating is like you're able to keep yourself in check and like have a healthy relationship with food and know how much you're supposed to be eating. This is just a Spark Notes version.
Yeah.
And
No.
not really, and basically have good health for the most part. That's like the most terrible way to explain it, but in a nutshell, that's what it means. Like you're able to not count calories, you're able to pick nutrient dense foods,
Eat when
and
you're
then
hungry and stop when you're full
yeah,
and
noticing
recognize
food
the
cues,
signs.
all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I like to start people with the hard stuff in the beginning, like, hey, like I know you don't want to do this, but you say you want to lose fat, and you claim to have been eating 1,200 calories a day, but not losing weight. Like, I don't believe you. Like, do I believe that you've been trying really hard? Yes, I 100% believe you that you've been trying really hard to lose weight, but you haven't. I don't believe that you've been eating 1,200 calories a day and you're not losing weight. You're eating more than you realize.
Something's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, something's going on. Your portion sizes are a little too big. You're snacking more and you don't realize it. So
Mhm.
that's why it's like, hey, like we're going to count calories initially. We're going to get used to it. You're going to weigh your food out. It is going to be tedious, but also it's not as time consuming as people make it out to be. I timed myself one day. It took me 3.5 minutes total to count my food all day. Just simply getting a serving size of this, put it on the food scale. Oh, cool. That's 3 ounces of this. Putting it in my app. It all cumulatively added up to like 3.5 minutes. Um, and then what I'm leading up to basically is like, we're going to do that for however long the fat loss phase is going to be, no more than 3 months. And then hopefully after 3 months of them consistently counting calories, weighing food, looking at what a proper food portion size is for all of these foods, then they are now ready to, and hopefully after they lost weight, that's their ultimate goal. They now know how to like, okay, like I should be eating this much grilled chicken. I should be eating this much fruits and vegetables per serving. I now know that yes, I still can have potato chips or sweets or something like that, but I'm going to weigh out one serving of the chips into a
Right.
bowl, and I'm going to put that family size bag away into the pantry. So I can still have these snack foods or these nice little indulgent foods that I love, but I'm only going to have one portion size of it. And this is what a portion size is. So that is like what we want to ultimately lead them to where they can now be equipped with intuitive eating strategies like eating until you're satisfied. You
Right.
know, it is okay to eat these foods. It's just what does a proper portion size look like, you know? Um, and they're not really going to know that if they don't weigh their food and they don't count their calories initially and so on and so forth. So that might be an unpopular opinion, but it kind of is what needs to happen if someone has been trying to lose weight for a long
It's
time
data.
and they just been guessing this entire time.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
And it is shocking when you do start tracking this stuff, it is very eye-opening. Like all of a sudden you realize the little clump of grapes that I just ate is a lot more calories than I thought. And so people will, I did this with fruit or with juicing.
Mm,
I was juicing the hell out of things and it was so good, but I ended up gaining weight because I was eating more sugar and not as much fiber, but I was overdoing it as well. And I think that is for me, that is one of my issues is that I find something that I like and I go all out. That is across my world. And I need to learn to, what's the word? Purport uh moderation.
hmm
A lot of anything is usually never good. A little bit of a lot of things can generally be a very good situation. And it like you said, you can still have the potato chips. I can still eat a piece of pizza every once in a while. I may have a little bit of heartburn afterwards, but it is if it's every once in a while, it's probably not going to be as bad. It's when your body starts recognizing these things again and we I think a lot of times just ignore what our body is saying until it slaps us in the face and says, "Guess what? I'm not going to work anymore because you have not been treating me well." That happens, and I think if we can get on top of that, we're a lot happier. Um, do you find that you talk more about nutrition or exercise with your clients?
Nutrition, 100%.
Okay.
People just don't. They either just don't know what to eat. They don't know how much to eat, and that goes back to the portion sizing and calorie counting combo we just had. Um, and they also fall prey to savvy marketing. That's another thing that I have to educate people on too. Like something could be labeled high protein, and it's like got 8 grams of protein in it, you know, but it's got 15 grams of fat and like 20 grams of carbs, you know. So like,
About 100 ingredients in it that aren't real.
yeah, and I was like, oh, well, yes, it does say high protein. It does have protein in it, so they're not lying to you. However, it's not actually high in protein, you know, like they're allowed to say that. Collagen protein powder is another good example of this conversation. Like a lot of people, collagen has great marketing. Collagen is a protein, it is a type of protein. It's more so meant for hair, skin, and nails, though, with the composition of the protein that it is. It's not the muscle building protein that a lot of people think it is. That's, you know,
Mhm.
leucine, isoleucine, valine, all the other essential amino acids. So when people are like, yeah, I put collagen protein powder in my coffee every single day to boost my protein up, I'm like, what's the goal behind that? Are you trying to build muscle or improve your hair, skin, and nails? And most 9 times out of 10, it's they want to build muscle. And I have to tell people like, hey, like your head's in the right place. You know, I'll credit to that. You're trying to get more protein in. It's not the right kind of protein that we're looking for. You know, like there's
Yeah.
nothing bad with collagen at all. I'm not hating on it. It's great for again the connective tissue stuff.
Right.
But I want to educate people like, hey, like if you want muscle building protein, just get regular protein powder. You know, whereas collagen can be for other issues, not other issues, other um, goals as well. If that's making any sense. So I have to like educate people on like be careful with heavily marketed stuff like high protein. Like look at the nutrition facts label. Like look at the ingredients. You know, or if you're coaching with me, ask me first before you buy it. You know, like hey, is this a
Right.
good supplement? Or is it full of crap, you know? And then I'll do like a supplement audit, like, I don't know, like I wouldn't really spend my money on this, or like, oh, hey, like this is actually a pretty good product, you know?
It's exhausting. And I think this is where my love-hate relationship with food is right now. Is that I just can't seem to make a good choice. So we just end up with chicken.
That's
But
safe bet.
Well, it is a safe bet, but I will be honest, and I think I've shared this with you before. I have several people in my life that have different nutrition issues.
Mm.
And so coming up with a menu or deciding what to eat is like the most stressful part of my day. I mean, to the point where I don't even make those decisions anymore. I can't. I went home to my parents' house this past weekend, or last week it was, and I swear every meal, it was a big discussion about where we're going to eat. What are we going to have? I'm like, I don't really care. Just a couple eggs and a grape. I just stop making every meal was a big decision. And I think that it can be overwhelming when you're having to navigate all the different things that people, if there are different nutritional needs. But also just getting through all the marketing and making sure that I'm purchasing the right thing and I'm not adding more issues to my world. But it's confusing right now. And I'm sure you've noticed this with the women that you're working with a certain age that we are, is our bodies don't like all the foods anymore either. Even though we still like the taste of it, when we eat it, it does things to us. The body doesn't lie. And I think that recognizing that and understanding that life changes and that you have to just kind of grow up and adjust with it, or else you're going to be miserable. And a lot of people don't like to give up the things they like. So,
No, I 1000% agree with you on that. I have to fight some people sometime to be like, hey, let's not eat this. I know it's delicious. I know you love it, but if you're lactose intolerant, please don't drink milk or eat a bunch of ice cream or a milkshake, or put cheese on everything that you do. If you have GERD, but you love hot sauce and tomato products, don't don't do that.
right, just
Don't
don't.
do it. Don't consistently do it. Like if you can do it once in a blue moon, like once every 6 months, and you just have to have some hot sauce, fine, whatever. Like one time in 6 months, you'll pay for it, but don't do it multiple times a week, every single week, and then complain about the heartburn that you have, or the
Exactly.
indigestion and the diarrhea or constipation, whatever. Like I'm going to tell you to cut that food out. Like if your doctor says to don't eat this, then I'm going to have to back him or her up and be like, hey, don't eat this or this because XYZ. And then you do it anyways. Like, so some people, you're right, they do have to grow up and actually follow what their body is telling them. And it's hard. It is hard. I admit, like me, I'm starting to become lactose sensitive. Like I'm not lactose intolerant, but I can't just drink a glass of milk anymore. I can't
Yeah,
really eat sour cream, messes me up. So what am I doing? I'm having to adjust. If I absolutely have to have like a bunch of ice cream, I'm going to take a lactate pill.
there you go.
So I can still eat it, but I'm also not going to just crush dairy all day, every day.
Right.
Um, so you eventually have to make adjustments, and especially if you already have underlying health conditions um, that's promoting an inflammatory environment, and you're now trying to lose weight and improve it, then you definitely can't eat foods that are offending to you. Um,
And it seems so easy. That seems like such a, if it hurts you, don't do it. Like basic, but it's not easy.
it's the repetition and the consistency and the extended period of time that makes that hard.
Yeah.
A lot of the times people will have nostalgic memories attached to food.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. There's
Holidays
certain
are like
foods.
that.
Yeah, like there's certain memories. Like there might be someone in your family that's no longer around, but you two used to eat this certain food,
Yeah.
and that's memories. I would never want to take that away from somebody. I get it, but there are certain times where that food may no longer agree with that person, and that's a tough conversation.
You just
Yeah.
brought up something else, or I don't know if you brought it up, but you made me think of something else. What about when you are like talking about you having like family meals? Like there's some staples that families have, like for holidays and things like that. Being able to say no in that situation and say, I would thank you so much for offering, but this food does not serve me anymore. And being able to make those and sometimes unpopular uh decisions, because people get real offended when you don't eat their food sometimes. But learning how to navigate those types of situations where you may be in a place where people don't understand that what you're eating and what you're consuming is hurting you physically. Because I know that that has happened to me. I've been on a program before and someone's been like, oh, what can you eat? What do I have to make? You know, it's just been like a real drag on their system. I'm like, okay, well, this is why I hate food, because I'm so sick and tired of food being the center of every decision that needs to be made in order to make plans. Like go on vacation, where are we going to eat?
Hmm.
Plan a meeting, what are we going to serve? Like there's always food. Um, but then when you don't eat someone's food, then they get offended.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a great scenario. First and foremost, I always tell, I haven't said this in a long time, and I need to keep reiterating it. It is okay to be selfish with your health.
yes.
There's not a damn thing wrong with that. Like if you have celiac disease and you can't have gluten, okay, tell everybody you can't have gluten. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with that, you know? Like, or if you're having to follow a certain protocol because you have some health condition and your doctor's like, hey, don't eat gluten and dairy or don't eat nightshades or something like that. You have to communicate that. That's, priority number one. B, now the ball is in the other person's court. Like, how are they going to react to it,
Right.
And they should be open and accommodating. Hopefully, they don't make it seem to be the end of the world that you're turning their food down. Most people, not always, are and should be accommodating for that. Um, and that's just bare minimum. It is okay to be selfish with your health. Like if you don't want to drink alcohol at a certain party or function, don't drink alcohol. Okay. If you don't want to have a certain food that your auntie has been making for the past 75 years and it's like her staple and you just don't want it, then either don't want it or you can't eat it, then don't eat it. Just
Yeah.
communicate with that person first, communicate with everybody as to what your food needs are, and then give them the why. Like most of the time, if you give them the why behind it, then they should understand and be open-minded about it. Um,
It, I think the why needs to be, well, I don't know if it needs to be. I know for me, my why of why I'm not eating certain foods has changed. It's not because I want to
mhm,
lose weight. It's because I don't feel good when I eat this. So when I tell someone I'm not eating something, it's not because I want to look good. It's because I don't want to feel like crap.
yep,
And when you can, I don't know if you have to rationalize it so much. And I mean, even if you did want to lose weight, it's your decision. And when you allow someone else to influence your decision on how to treat yourself, then I think that may be a topic for another conversation and dive into some other issues that's going on there. But I think that owning your journey is part of it without making people feel like they are having to sacrifice their stuff as well. And I think that is another, especially with moms, or if I know you work primarily with women, so so and I guess a lot of that's coming from my parents give me grief all the time about the food. Uh, Always give me grief. And then they serve shrimp scampi, which is covered in butter and garlic. And I'm like, I'm gonna have the worst heartburn. And I had terrible heartburn that night. But there was nothing else to eat. And if I had not eaten that, then I would have gotten grief. And so I succumbed
come.
okay, to that guilt. And that's terrible. But
Hmm.
that's, again, another issue.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Hmm.
Um, all right. Well, let's see. What time are we at right now? We're a little after
Nine,
9.
10.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or bring up or mention, or what are some other nugs? What are some goals of yours that you have? I know you've talked about, well, you've gone to virtual now for your fitness,
Hmm.
and I'm assuming that's your the nutrition as well. What are some of your long-term goals that we can help you hit?
Yeah. So my biggest Well, I'm going to do personal goals and business goals first.
Okay.
Personal goal, just a little fun bit. I'm actually trying to gain weight in a world where people are trying to always lose weight. I've always been the
Okay.
undersized kind of guy, and I've always just training. I've always been training for longevity, and that goes back to my dad and my granddad having a heart attack. I've always just been like, okay, like stay lean, eat healthy foods and whatnot. Just don't get overweight or obese. And I've done exactly that. Um, and in that, I've always been kind of undersized, and that's okay. I'm only like 160 pounds, but now I want to get stronger. I just want to gain some weight, good weight. But the main thing is just like put on some muscle mass. And I've
Okay.
never done that before. And it's actually kind of hard to gain weight because I still have been crushing fruits and vegetables, fiber, protein, and it's very satiating. So I'm having to turn to more like fatty foods like peanut butter,
Mm.
olive oil as well. So I'm still trying to prioritize like your plant-based fats instead of just doing a dirty bulk, fried foods, pizza,
Right.
snack foods and chips. Like I'm still trying to do it the right way. I'm up like 3 pounds in like the past month and a half or 2 months or so. So like, yay, woo! It's working a little bit, but
You
very
share this
slowly.
with your clients? No, I'm teasing.
I actually do, yeah. I'm telling them I'm trying to gain weight, and I just get like a eye roll and they want to punch me.
Well, we all have our own journeys.
Yeah.
So,
So the main thing is just get stronger. I've never trained for true strength before because I've
okay.
always been longevity focused. So that's just a little personal goal that I have for
Please.
myself this year. Why not more? So gain some weight, healthy weight, like muscle mass, and increase my daily fiber. I've always been focused on protein, protein, protein. Now I'm like protein and fiber, whole fruit, whole vegetables. Um, so that's just a little personal goal for you. Business goals. So your main question. I have been a hybrid coach in the Atlanta area for a while, past 4, 5 years now. And I would, until 2 weeks ago, I was traveling to and from my clients' homes to train them 1 hour at a time. And that was great. I loved it. Very personal connection. You're chatting with them for an hour. It's just not scalable and it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
And back in October, I had to make the hard decision to let that go. But I gave them 6 months of notice. Like, hey, like I'm gonna go online. I know you don't want to do it, but this is what I have to do in order to grow my business essentially. And I only lost one person. Everyone else has gone online, which is great.
Great.
And so now what I want to do is two tiers basically. Number one, obviously expand my one-to-one coaching, help more people at a deeper health level.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be my high ticket coaching option that I've always had. And I also want to start building a health community, online health community. So the exact details of how I'm going to do this, I've almost hashed them all the way out, but I want to create a community where people can essentially sign up. They pay like a X amount of monthly fee. They get workouts, workout programs, weekly educational group calls that I host and whatnot at a lower monthly membership rate, basically. So that way we're a part of a community. I'm educating people on like, hey, like this is the current state of the health of America. This is why it is important to support your local farmers or how, you know, the food that you're putting on your table is how much it costs, but also how it affects your health and your children's health or your parents'
Mm-hmm.
health. Again, I'm very education focused and educating people on how to prioritize yourself and your health, basically. So I haven't quite hashed out the exact details of how I'm going to do this sort of like low tier membership community, but
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. I want to help more people. I want to provide more value. I want to build a strong community of people that are able to get healthier slowly over time if they can't afford the higher one-to-one coaching, then maybe they can either save up for it or they can at least still get, nominally healthier from my lower tier membership, basically.
Right.
My goal is to help as many people as I possibly can, of course. while also keeping the lights on and, running a business. So that's my next step. And I'm already working on it right now that I'm fully online, is creating all the back end stuff. That's when I'm, the boring things. I'm, half coaching, but I'm also building out systems and everything like that. So to answer your question, in the process of building a community, like working out the finer details of how it's going to look, creating courses for people, and ultimately just how can I provide as much value as I possibly can.
I feel like that you almost started a mission statement there. Like I feel like there was what you said was almost what you like building a community. Like you're trying to appeal to the masses, but in doing that and this is just my take on this. It seems like you want to appeal to the masses, but you're doing that by working with people who can offshoot. Like you've got a like your the folks you work with will spread the word kind of thing. Like if you're trying to create that impact, because you can't
Yes.
help everybody. I mean, that just logistically, we can't help everybody,
Yeah,
but we can help the
exactly.
right people that will create a trend and will
Hmm.
create the awareness.
Hmm.
Um, and I think what you said, the again, the women that you're working with, I would imagine either they're at child age, like they've have children if they're that age, but making sure that your children are also set on a good path because sometimes, there's certain things that we are like everything has changed so much since when we grew up. Like all the things that we knew growing up have completely been debunked. So being able, or at least creating that mindset with our kids that don't get suckered into the hype. Like there are things like marketing, like just because something is comes in bulk and it's cheap doesn't mean that that's what you should get because it's probably a trick.
Yep.
Not to be all conspiracy, but that's we need to have that awareness and just create the inquisitiveness and and also just an awareness of what we're putting into ourselves. I think that's huge. And I think that's what tracking also does is it creates that awareness and the intentionality of the things going in. I mean, we have to manage the prescriptions we're taking. We don't just take whatever pills we want whenever we want to take them. There's a management of how we're supposed to do things. And it's once you it's the mindset. The mindset's everything. And that's in life. And once you believe it and it makes sense and you're doing it for the right reasons, I think things can be a lot easier than we think that they are.
Hmm.
Choose your heart, I think is the best way to say that. You can either, live a life where you're miserable or take some control over it. In a world where we have little control over many things, we do have control over what we eat. And I did a service project up in I don't remember where we were somewhere up in Kentucky. And it was when I learned what a food desert is. Have you heard
Mm.
that term?
Yep.
I didn't. This was in 2020. Was it 20 or 21? I think it was 21. I'd never heard that before. And when I saw the food that was being brought out to these folks that were in these food deserts, like this isn't helping the situation. I mean, it was all junk and it was just full of fat. Like just was terrible. And I'm
It's cheap
thinking,
processed foods.
yeah, but in doing so, you're not getting nutrition. And I don't need to tell you this, but it's not helping the problem. And if you look at how much a pack of chicken costs versus a chicken sandwich at a fast food place, you're way better off getting the chicken at the grocery store and cooking it and creating a couple of meals out of it. Throwing things in there. We're not we're not that's taking this kind of food to places that don't have food is not the answer. And that was extremely eye-opening.
Hmm.
And these were farmers. These were
Yeah.
farmers we were bringing food to, and I don't know. It's a messed up system. It's just
Yeah.
really it's so God bless you for taking action and moving towards a better movement. And I think that that's all we can do. We can't fix everything, but we can be part of a solution. And women are my age need that. Just so you know, because we're thinking about too many other things, and it's hard for us to. It's like an onion. Once you start peeling it, there's other things that start needing to be fixed. So it's a little
Hmm.
overwhelming and daunting.
There's always another layer.
Well, and honestly, Bobby, having someone sit down and spell out things sometimes is just refreshing because we can do research and we can do all the things, but then you get into those holes. But knowing and everything that you're saying feels right to say it. Like there's nothing that you're saying that's like, I don't know, that's a little controversial there. This is all like it's crazy how simple it can be and make it more complicated. But
Mhm.
I'm yeah. So do you have a phrase or a quote that you enjoy or that you listen or that you refer to often that you kind of base your life on? Is there any particular saying or anything that has been life changing for you?
Um, the easiest one that I remember, and it's easy for people to remember as well, is we are what we eat and we are what we repeat. Um, Simple,
Yeah.
effective. We are what we eat, we are what we repeat. Um, and just show up every day and keep going.
Yeah.
But
And
just
striving
keep
for
going.
consistency, not perfection. I love that as
Exactly.
well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Consistency over perfection is always going to win. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to try to be perfect, but I'm going to show up every week at some in some capacity, you know. Um, and that's it. You know, we are what we eat, we are what we repeat, and just be consistent. That's all it is.
Well, Bobby, thank you so much for doing this morning, and I look forward to having this on, having people listen to this, and I will also include your contact information, and everything in the description, so that people can reach out. But I look forward to getting to know you more, of course, but and I look forward to seeing what you're doing with the community and what you're doing with your outreach, because I think that's ambitious and I love it. So. Yay!
Woo!
Yay, good
Thank you for
decisions.
thank you so much for having me on too, Stephanie. This was great. A lot of
Absolutely.
good questions, a lot of good topics, and yeah, I'll always talk about this stuff. It's just
All right.
fascinating to me. It's my passion.
That's awesome. And you can definitely tell. So, all right. Well, thank you. And we will see you, I guess on Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. Thank you so much,
All right.
Stephanie. Have a great
Take
day.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, all right, y'all. That wraps up another episode of Stuff You Should Know. A huge thank you to Bobby with Premier Fitness and Nutrition for hanging out with me and sharing all this insight today. I truly believe that the right connections can completely change the directions of your health, your mindset, and honestly, your life. And that's exactly why I love introducing good people to other good people. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, don't just think about it, take action on it. Reach out, ask questions, start somewhere. And as always, if you need guidance, resources, or just somebody to help you point you in the right direction, the chick with a plan has got you. All right, thanks for listening. I'll catch up with you on the next episode of Stuff You Should Know.